just woke up. Well, sort of, not really. We did get ready, and we are all bundled up as much as we can. It's the first time I've worn 2 pants in a long time. But we're going to get breakfast and then head to Doubtful Sound at the Sandfly Cafe. Breakfast. I got little pancakes with whipped cream and berries. We finished breakfast and we're headed to Manapouri. Manapouri, here we go. Whoops, we made a wrong turn, so we are turning around.
Yeah, that was the fault of the GPS, because it doesn't actually mark that as a turn.
We have Lake Manapouri over there, and right here there are some little houses. So Doubtful Sound departures are over there. So we're all packed up, ready to head down. So we are on the first little boat for Doubtful Sound, and there are a lot more people than I thought there would be. There's like a big group of people doing a discovery. I'm not sure what that is.
4 separate groups. I'm not sure exactly how it's all working, but it's like you got the little groups like us for the day trip, and you got people who are doing like a full overnight thing.
Maybe I'm looking.
And then you've got people like Queenstown doing like
You want a table here?
Anyway.
lots of different groups.
Just do a briefing, we've just got one more person coming, too far away, and then we'll be on their way. Now, at the other end where I drop you off at West Arm is the building.
We're getting to the dock to take a bus across the Wilmot Pass.
Right, yeah, so those people who are on the day trip, the West Arm guys, you can go head off there now, but the Discovery ones, 6 to 7 days, we just stay where we are or where we are, right?
So we're in the second portion with the land, I guess.
We are onto the little bus ride over the pass.
Is this an island? Sort of?
No.
No. Oh, it's not. It's connected. It's just across a...
The actual Doubtful Sound is
It's
just on the
southern.
other side of these mountains. What we did so far is just trip across the Lake Manapouri.
Oh, it's nice and warm.
Welcome to West Arm. I'm sure you're all keen to get on with today's adventure. Quite a group of people here. In fact, we've got 2 groups. Those of you that we're concerned with are day cruising on Doubtful Sound with us today. We've got 2 coaches on this side of the building. Either of those coaches will do.
Do you have a preference? So we got the bus and we're about to cross Wilmot Pass.
I don't remember what it's called.
It's W-I-L-M-O-T. Wilmot? Wilmot. Tell us. Apparently this is New Zealand's most expensive road.
Down there at sea level, 178 metres away.
There are moss on top of the beech trees.
Under the pool.
Those trees are so interesting looking.
Tower Race Tunnel is 10 kilometres long or 6 miles underground from the Manapouri Hydro. It takes 1 hour for the water to come through. down to Deep Cove. Good thing about it is the water's still the same quality. That's a pretty doubtful idea, isn't it?
Cross Wilmot Pass and Wilmot Pass. And we're going on the boat.
Complimentary hot drinks can be found upstairs and downstairs with our water available as well. Out to the right, the smaller island, of course, known as Seymour Island. It's actually named after a school teacher that spent just shy of 2 years living on that island in the late 1800s.
We got the waves here from our own wake.
Okay, team, so we have just nosed right into the base of Tapeler's Pool. So quite similar to Brown Pools, roughly about 600-700 metres up above us is an alpine lake, funnily enough known as Lake Tapeler's, which of course means the outlet for this waterfall, or alpine river as Ian just like to quote to say. Now, not flowing massively today, obviously we haven't had too much rainfall over the last week or so. But it just does give you a good example of where a lot of our freshwater layer comes from that we are cruising along this afternoon.
So we're making our way out into the Tasman Sea now, and you can tell we're heading out to sea just by the way the boat's starting to move around a bit. And also you can tell we're heading out to sea just because we've got an albatross just straight ahead of us here as well, just low over the water. So as Laura said, this is where we get towards the bouncy bit. These are the shelter islands closest to us. We will lose their shelter shortly, and we're aiming for the knee islands straight ahead. Not the coming in.
What's it?
It's too serious today. We will pick up a bit of motion from the ocean, so please be mindful about that. If you're standing up anywhere, make sure you're within reach of a handrail. Otherwise, find a seat. If you've got cups and glasses on the table, please look after them. And very important, if you've got children, please make sure they're right with you, nice and safe for this next part of the journey. And be ready now for some rock and roll as we make our way further out.
What we have here in Doubtful Sound is the only Spanish names on the map anywhere in New Zealand. So we've got Rivera and Point, Porter Island out to the left that we just went past, and coming up the island. So what we're hoping to see once we sneak into the island is some of the Kikuno, New Zealand fur seals. So definitely the best place to get a good view of these seals will be out on the bow or up on that top deck. And Paul will very delicately pick his way through the hurdles to get us out there. So there we go, perfect example of how they sort of sit right upright and just sort of turn their head around. So of course the New Zealand fur seals had a bit of a rough start for a while there, almost hunted to extinction in the early 1800s. So fully protected of course now, population making a nice rebound. It's still estimated that today's population is only about 10 to 15% of what it was pre-sealing days. So you look at these little guys just lounging on the rock right now, and they really were just a sitting duck for those sealers when that brutal sort of industry started back then. Of course, at the time they thought it was basically an untapped resource and it would never run out. It was not uncommon for sealing ships to come across from America and Sydney and head back after a year with sort of 20, 30, 40,000 skins plus. So a huge amount of seals for a while there. So these guys are known as sexually dimorphic, which simply means there's a massive difference between the females and males there. So you've got a good sized male right at the front there. Males getting upwards towards almost 3 meters, and they can be well over 100 kgs, getting up towards about 180 for those larger ones. Females significantly smaller, only around a meter and a half in length, ranging between 30 and 50 kgs. So breeding season is during the warmer months. And what they're doing actually at the moment is just relaxing. So they've been out at sea for the night fishing. They dive down to incredible depths, feeding on octopus, squid, fish, you name it, and just relax on the rocks for the afternoon.
So if we were to carry on from here, in 1,000 nautical miles, we'd go straight into Sydney Harbour. It's a bit misty and mysterious out there further out today, but normally we can just about see the top of the Sydney Harbour Bridge over the horizon there. If we go out directly due west, we have to travel 3/4 of the way around the world, and we finish up heading to a small fishing village in Argentina.
So we are cruising back to not West Arm, but Deep Cove. And Doubtful Sound is really cool. There's like a dark, the water is kind of dark. We saw dolphins. Oh, hey. Ooh. Look at it. Oh, no.
So guys, as we pick up speed, we're probably going to have a bit of a place potentially out the back of the boat.
What's this place called? West Cove?
We're going to be pulling up very shortly outside the visitor centre.
Ready to board now, right? Are we? So we're on our last leg of our Doubtful Sound day trip, and we're headed back to Manapouri. And here's the boat. We're on our way back now, and the sun's shining on those mountains, and it looks kind of cool. We are almost back to Manapouri. We're finished. Have we? We're on our way back to Tano.
20 kilometers.
20 kilometers, so it's not that far. But this view on the way back is so cool. I think even if you don't end up doing it, it's worth driving here when it's not foggy outside to just come have a look at.
We came in when it was just super
Lake.
foggy for most of the drive here, so we'll finally get to actually see what it looks like on the way back. But there's a bunch of rain up there, you can see.
Yeah. It wasn't too rainy for our whole trip, and we saw dolphins.
It was way less
Rain than
bad
you
weather than I was expecting. Like that was about perfect. Like it started raining like at, I don't know, 3 or 4, which was basically when we were like getting off the boat and back on the bus to go home. So it was good timing. It worked out really well.
Yeah, and we saw dolphins.
We did.
It was
Got
kind
to
of
see
cool.
a few of them jumping around. Like they were just following in the wake, and like a few of them took a few big jumps out of the water, just playing around.